normal people become terrified of criminals.
Shots were just fired. Police just came out and told us, and we're headed there right now.
They become terrified of their own government.
But let's jump to this story from SCNR.com. Scanner. Missouri AG launches investigation into media matters. AG Andrew Bailey, quote, "I'm fighting to ensure progressive tyrants masquerading as news outlets cannot manipulate the marketplace in order to wipe out free speech." This is huge. Attorney General Andrew Bailey says we have reason to believe Media Matters used fraud to solicit donations from Missourians in order to bully advertisers into pulling out of X, the last platform dedicated to free speech in America. We have launched an investigation, and it is quite simple. According to data from X, as well as numerous reports, Media Matters appeared to have created fake accounts or created dummy accounts using new accounts, following specifically advertisers and extremists. That way, the content would appear next to each other, and they could then go to the advertiser and say, "See, look, your content appears next to extremists," which is a disingenuous version of events. That being the case, for Media Matters to claim this thing happened when, according to X, their staff and Elon Musk, it happened like 2 times. The argument is Media Matters is defrauding donors by tricking them into thinking they're actually solving a problem when in fact that problem doesn't even exist. Therefore, the argument now is fraud. This is huge, but this is the lawfare. And it's not just Missouri. I know that I believe Texas is filing several suits too, right?
The attorney general there is doing that. Yes.
Let me read the letter here so we can get the specifics here. Andrew Bailey of Missouri says this letter serves as a formal document, hold notice under federal and Missouri law. The Missouri Attorney General's office has opened an investigation into Media Matters for America regarding your firm's potentially unlawful business practices. Full stop. Media Matters is I believe they're a 501c4 nonprofit. I could be wrong, but all they do all day is watch what they view as conservative media and then post things. Oftentimes they're out of context or manipulative. But here's more. He says, as you are no doubt aware, a federal lawsuit has been filed against Media Matters, raising serious allegations that your firm falsely and deceptively manipulated the algorithm on X, formerly known as Twitter, through coordinated, inauthentic behavior, and that you did so in an attempt to defame the organization and cause advertisers to pull their support from the platform, thus harming free speech. The lawsuit alleges that you lied to the public, falsely suggesting that fringe extremist content regularly appears next to content from corporate advertisers, when in fact the opposite is true. At the same time, you appear to have used this coordinated, inauthentic activity to solicit charitable donations from consumers across the country. I have reason to believe that your firm's alleged actions may have violated Missouri consumer protection laws, including laws that prohibit nonprofit entities from soliciting funds under false pretenses. I'm especially concerned that Media Matters' actions, if proven true, have hampered free speech by targeting an expressly pro-free speech social media platform in an attempt to cause it financial harm while defrauding Missourians in the process. You are thus hereby instructed to preserve all records that may relate to your alleged effort to engage in coordinated, inauthentic behavior on social media platforms in order to generate false statements that were used to solicit charitable contributions under false pretenses. You are instructed in particular to preserve all records that may relate to your webpage, which expressly solicit funds at the following URL. He then goes on to list several other documentation that must be preserved. So this is a notice to preserve documents, which means the investigation is about to begin. Missouri expects to get into the discovery phase, and it very well may be that as we enter 2024, the lawfare ramps up substantially more than just private actors filing lawsuits. And on top of Missouri, we may see, I got to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if every single state AG has some kind of lawsuit fired away in an attempt to advantage themselves in this election. It's not just about votes. It's not just about vote policy. It's about speech capabilities.
Yeah.
It's about Media Matters trying to take down X, and now Missouri fighting to defend X because X is in favor of free speech. 2024 is going to be absolutely wild.
It already is wild.
I know. I'm just saying it's going to get crazier.
It's going to get way crazier.
It's not just Media Matters. It's so many other organizations like that exist. And I mean, you could make an argument that they're doing the exact same thing. So this is really, I think this is huge. This is really big to set this sort of precedent for, we will come after you if you try to influence, defraud people, essentially. I mean, that's the argument they're making here. And you look at these other outlets like, Right Wing Watch, what's the other one? The big one, Patriot Takes, and other ones like that where they take things out of context, and they could be doing the same thing. I don't know. I mean, it's worth...
If they solicit donations.
Yeah.
So Rumble is suing Check My Ads, I believe, the two founders. And what this group does is they contact advertisers for various conservative outlets and then try to get the advertisers to pull out. I can say they have made numerous deceptive statements about us and used that to solicit donations. Notably, they claimed that I pushed the quote unquote big lie, which is the big lie refers to Donald Trump saying he won in 2020. Anybody who's ever watched this show knows that I have never claimed Trump won 2020. And I actually argued with Bannon twice that Trump lost because people did not like him and they didn't vote for Biden. They voted against Trump. And Steve Bannon actually went, I said Trump got anti-elected. There's no enthusiasm for Biden. They were voting against Trump. And he goes, that's pretty good. Anti-elected. Yeah. So I'm like, the fact that they would raise money off of making that claim, it shows these organizations are deceiving people in order to raise money.
For the record, they're a 501c3. Media Matters is.
Yeah,
Media
they're a
Matters is a
nonprofit.
C3?
Yeah.
Yep.
No. Yes, I know they're a
According to
nonprofit.
Wikipedia, they're a 501c3.
They're exempt from federal income tax.
So
Wow.
does that change this at all? Does it make it more or less?
501c3s can't engage in partisan political activity.
Yeah, and it's pretty clear that they are very partisan.
Super PACs, typically I believe they're 501c4s. That's the tax designation, 501, and then the C is in the parentheses and a 4. And this 501c4s don't have to disclose where their money goes, but it's not tax deductible. And 501c3s, completely tax deductible, but you can look up all their information, their salaries. I recommend everybody do this. Search for tax form 990 and insert nonprofit, and you can learn a lot about all these organizations. So good sleuthing, everyone out there. Have fun.
Am I supposed to say something now? Just Media
I don't know.
Matters.
You made the noise. I
I started to look for 990 Media Matters. I was like, I'm one of those guys. I want to know. I want to know who owns it, who runs it, who makes the money, how much do they make.
Salaries.
That's good.
And there's restrictions on this stuff. So should be interesting, but I'm curious to see where all these lawsuits end up. But regardless, it's not even 2024 yet, okay? Primaries haven't happened. We're a month away from the Iowa caucuses, and already people are starting to get crazy.
It feels crazy. Did you guys hear Klaus Schwab? I think this video is real. He said that he was railing against anti-system and saying that there was the biggest threat to the system is libertarians. The libertarianism. It's like on Twitter, it was freaking me out. It's like, this is the mask off moment. If this is a real video and he's speaking out against libertarianism.
So people who believe in freedom are the biggest threat.
Wait, he had a mask on
To
at all?
freedom.
To freedom.
It's like
That's literally what they say.
I love when they tell us to our faces what they're trying to do. Like it drives home the point that like they know they don't have to be silent about it, or they think they have more power than they do.
Well, it's because the average person doesn't care.
That's
I
true.
can't tell you how many people I've met who go, oh, well, I don't pay attention to that stuff. There's a viral video where this woman is like, I just went to Chipotle and my burrito bowl was 1982. I know I got guac, but that shouldn't make it 1982. Like, WTF is going on? And it's like, well, as you sit there not paying attention, your burrito bowls are becoming very expensive. Now, for those of us that are paying attention, we're like, perhaps it was the several $100 billion spent in foreign war garbage over the past couple of years and the massive spending that's resulted in hyperinflation. Well, I shouldn't say hyperinflation, it's being a little hyperbolic, but you get my point.
It's either that,
Or, giving everyone $2,000 checks and big corporate bailouts. That's also another big issue, another big problem that, of course, I think a lot of people need to deal with as well. But we are not in a good situation. There is a lot of lawfare. Now, some people say there's too much lawfare. I would kind of agree with them. But right now, it is very heavily one-sided. It is essentially district attorneys financed by George Soros. It is essentially a lot of the leftist organizations and groups that are kind of organizing themselves and suing and attacking everyone. Alex Jones was sued for $1 billion. Elon Musk is being sued by those same individuals right now. So we are sadly living in a day and age where lawyers are becoming more important, but also more powerful and more rich than they ever were before, since this is how we are seeing this kind of asymmetrical warfare being waged politically in a very dangerous gambit that is not good for America. It's not good for its people. And sadly, now now everything you do and say has to be carefully monitored. You have to watch yourself. You make one mistake, you're going to get sued into oblivion. And this is why the appeals case for what's happening to Alex Jones is so important, as of course they found him guilty and he owes $1 billion+ for speech, which is
he was found
crazy.
liable, but this is the important distinction here, is that there was no trial. People don't know this.
Yep.
People are being told Alex Jones lost a lawsuit and is forced to pay over defamation. No, he didn't. It was a ruling in default. The judge said, no trial for Alex Jones. You owe them. Now we're going to have a hearing to determine how much you owe them.
And he couldn't defend themselves.
Yep.
And the major accusation was that he didn't provide discovery. But according to Alex Jones, he was providing discovery. He was providing a lot of the documentations that they were asking
He
for.
said that no matter what he gave them, they kept saying it wasn't it. And that's like, how do you, like, it's like torture almost. You know, the torturer says, tell me the location of the Genesis device. And the guy goes, I don't know. So they hit him again. Tell me or else. I seriously don't know. He's lying and they keep hitting you. It's like, if you don't know, what are you supposed to say? Just lie? So they're like, we want these documents. And Alex Jones is like, well, there you go. Okay, we want more. He's like, that's it. Nope, there's more. You're lying. And he's like, that's all I have. And they're like, nope, default. You lose.
Well, that's the danger of this litigious society, and it's kind of what we saw with Roger Stone too. They did the same thing to him. They accused him of lying. Oh, you didn't turn over all the emails, or you did this, and therefore you tried to lie about this. And he was like, no, that's not what happened. But they can keep pushing you, and they can keep pushing you, and they can keep it in the court system, and they can keep making it not only a matter of like the court, but also the court of public opinion too. Like they can keep you under their thumb that way, and they'll just keep telling you you're lying, and then they make you into a monster publicly and in the court as to who you really are. And that's kind of what happened with Alex Jones. It happens with a lot of people. But I think you're totally right. This litigious society we live in is so dangerous, because it's like, at what point do we stop? Because if the enemy is going to be doing that, right? If they're going to be throwing lawsuits at everybody left and right, then our only way to defend ourselves is to throw lawsuits at them in response, which is what you're seeing, for example, in Missouri.
I bet artificial intelligence will take that task on. They'll start using artificial intelligence to countersue and sue and countersue, and it'll just, you'll see it ups
It's
to probably
just a
magnitudes
cycle.
more.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. There's going to be AI writing like court documents. It's going to be so weird. Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.